Family, 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 family. So great and honored to be here in front of your presence. This is the Deputy Mayor, Councilman Will Morgan, City of Chester. We here for another episode of Cool Ass Conversations with Will. Apologize for my presence for not being here within the last month. As you know, many of us wear a lot of hats, no matter if it's family, fatherhood, motherhood, dealing with your jobs, your positions, your careers, dealing just with the community or anything. Had a lot going on in the previous month, but we are back. We are back here live in effect, right in your living room, right in your phone and your mobile device. If you're driving and listening, please drive carefully. Please put your seatbelt on. But nonetheless, I'm glad to be here. I'm glad that CMP Radio has still allowed me my presence and the updates that we're able to provide to you all so that you can be or stay informed about the things that might be going on at City Hall when you might not be able to hear or listen to them in the council meetings. My first time in this location here in the new CMP Radio station. Beautiful, beautiful setting, man. It's a lot of space. The aura that I get when I walk in the facility, in the building, I feel like I'm at home. It's right here in the city of Chester. It has a lot of history, a lot of historic things and items, statues, pictures on the walls in this facility. So it's a great establishment. If you have not been here, no matter if you got a show, if you don't have a show, I think it's important that maybe some individuals should be able to maybe stop down here because this building really does have some history. I won't be able to provide the history now. Maybe I could provide it one day with P sitting next to me, and we could talk about some of the historic features and things like that has been done in this building. As you all know, the city of Chester is the first city in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, so naturally that's historic right there. And our Avenue of the States, Edgemont Avenue, was top notch, second to none. So for those who continue to travel up in the Philadelphia or South Street area, trust me, the city of Chester, our Avenue of the States was South Street before South Street was South Street. And Penn's Landing landed here. So William Penn landed here. So the name Penn's Landing that is in Philadelphia, it should be still here, but the rights were sold. So that's just your quick history class lesson in 10 seconds. But I do think that at some point it'll be important for the individuals that work in this space and cultivate new energy and provide new information to you all should be able to, if they don't know of the history of the facility, then they definitely should be able to learn it and or provide it back to you also. Again, thanks for being here. Happy to be here though, because we do have a few more updates. I think a good amount of people may have seen some of the discussions and comments and appreciations or some of the other side of the appreciation about some of the announcements that has been made over the last few weeks. One big one that was done just yesterday. So I more so will end that for the end of my conversation with you all. But one thing that I want to talk about is about the city being supportive of our local community, and that that's not just about our education, our kids and their youth education, about their recreation. It's also about the business community. And just last month in September, the Missing Plug held their annual award show where the city of Chester was a sponsor. And one of the things that we always talk about in the city of Chester is how do we pretty much sometimes maybe put our money where our mouth is, but also just being out there in the community. And I think you all know, whether it's myself, other members of council, we are one individual. We get a lot of invitations to come to a lot of events, speak at a lot of different platforms. Unfortunately, we're not able to make them all. But for me, the Missing Plug was one that I wanted to make sure that we were a part of. It speaks to our culture, whether it's on the business side, on the DJ side, entrepreneurship, small businesses, and it's our, I guess, scene or version of the BET Hip Hop Awards that kind of just finished up or wrapped up, if some of you may have watched that live. So the Missing Plug was a great event to attend. The city of Chester, we presented an award there, or specifically me presented an award there. I think I presented the Business of the Year, which went to Elite Fitness. And so, but congratulations to all the nominees and all the winners. Keep pushing, keep fighting through those obstacles, keep striving and prospering, keep your chin held high, because most certainly we all go through the hard times, negative times, but all of those things just makes us stronger and allows us to propel forth and really get to the end goal, or to just keep elevating and providing growth and maturity. So again, shout out to the Missing Plug, all of the individuals that were involved in that were able to put that together. Great event. And I say all that to say, not only kudos to them, but again, if there's any event out there, please don't hesitate to reach out to members of council and or myself. I mentioned I'm one person. We would like to sponsor events, individual, whether it's individually or through the city of Chester. Please don't hesitate to reach out to us, man. You all know of our financial position, unfortunately, but we do have a wealth of connections with our local businesses and corporations here in the city of Chester, and they have to do their just due by reinvesting in the community. And at times, it's not by putting millions or thousands of dollars into their infrastructure to build it up. At times, it can be necessarily just to make sure that they're hiring local residents to work in their establishment, or it can just simply be many of them may have a nonprofit or would like to donate to those events that are going on within the community. So if we're not able to do it, I strongly still encourage you to reach out, because we may have individuals who are able and or willing to do it as well. So yeah, let's hold them accountable, because I most certainly am going to do the same thing. Another thing that I want to mention about is just support. Like I mentioned, we have a mini sports going on here in the city of Chester. One that has been ringing a bell over my Facebook and social media platform over the last, I don't know, maybe week or two, is the Chester High School football team, and the young man, or Jalen Harris, I believe is the last name. I apologize if I'm saying it wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's Jalen Harris. I've been seeing a lot of individuals saying go vote for him. He's a young freshman doing big things, setting records. And first off, I want to give kudos to the entire team, to the coaching staff there. It takes a lot for not only a coaching staff to get a team of 30, 40 plus of young individuals to buy in on what they're trying to put out on the field and competition, and also in the classrooms, and also for them to see the talent and have trust in this young man, to put the ball in his hands and allow him as a freshman, as a ninth grader, to be able to will them to continuous wins, 6-0 that they are. So that's a big kudos to, again, that coaching staff and all of that they're doing, and the faculty members and everyone that's involved with that. I know they got a game this weekend. Homecoming is upcoming. Do me a favor, do the kids a favor. We all speak about the youth is our future. I know what homecoming means to us. I know as adults and or alumni. I know what homecoming means to those students and for those kids and student athletes. And to see so many people in the stands, we pack up the home side of the field and we pack up the away side of the field. Now, nobody really wants to go to the away side, but that's how it should look every game, not just homecoming. And I hope that if you are going to homecoming, please go in there and make sure you watch a quarter of the game, whether it's the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, or fourth quarter. Don't just go into the parking lot. And if you really don't have intentions on watching the game, the bare minimum you can do is to go up to that booth and at least buy a ticket. Maybe give your ticket no, I'm not going to tell you to give your ticket to somebody else. Let them buy too. All of that support goes back into the school, back into the football team. So go support them. I believe it's October 22nd. Homecoming, Chester High homecoming. I think I seen somebody post on social media that they tag like BET and tell them they needed to come see like the top high school homecoming in the land. And man, listen, it's second to none. Mayor and council is always supportive of the high school, of all of our youth, and we need to make sure that we're supportive of them as well by showing up and showing out. being loud, and I think they got a good or a big opponent or a solid opponent on homecoming. So please go up there and Academy Park. Yeah, is it Academy Park? Yep. It's we all know what those types of Delco rivalries kind of mean to us anyway. So again, if you're not going in the game, which I encourage you to, just go up there and buy a ticket. It goes a long way for these kids, for the youth. It's a lot that they can do with that, whether it's jerseys, whether it's improving their weight room facilities, whether it's transportation to and from a different game. Trust me, these kids are going to the playoffs. I don't put it past anybody, and I think they're going to do something special. So, again, shout out to all those involved, and especially the coaches, and vote Jalen Harris. I went on there last night, and I voted one time, and I said, well, I wonder if I can vote a second time. I went on there, I voted a second time. Then I said, well, hold on, let me see if my numbers is really adding up. And next thing I know, it was like 36,000. Then it went up to like 36,500, 37. I'm like, well, I'm not the only one. So keep on voting. I know today he was in first place. So he's still in first place. So we topping the opponents, just like we topping them on the field as far as in competition and football. So keep continuously doing what you're doing and support all of those student athletes in high school and make sure that they stay in the classrooms and in the books as well. Chichester, Chichester's a solid opponent. I think Chichester might have got the best of us last year. Chichester, we owe y'all. We owe you one, a good one. So let's make it happen. Some other things, so jobs, we always talk about job opportunities and career opportunities. So if you or anyone is looking for opportunities in the entire city of Chester or in Delaware County, please stop by City Hall to our workforce development coordinator. Mr. Eric Bain has been with the city for quite a amount of years, and he always provides many or various opportunities to individuals that are unemployed, whether it's working within the city of Chester again or working within the entire Delaware County. We have some nice size corporations here. Harris Casino, unfortunately, they've experienced some turnaround with employment. A lot of that is due to the new casino in Philadelphia that is near the stadiums. I think it's Philly Live, maybe. So I said to say that there's a lot of opportunity there at Harris Casino. The marijuana facility, the grow processing facility where they grow over 300 strains of cannabis. 300 strains of cannabis. Highly surveillanced, we'll say that. So y'all don't get no crazy, nothing in y'all minds. But they have a lot of opportunity there, whether you're a trimmer, a grower, packaging. So please, we offer these opportunities here at City Hall. If you speak to the workforce development coordinator, and we can provide you or give you the proper direction on who you need to speak to, so you hopefully can be able to work, get some benefits, and get some funds in your pocket, and be able to provide for your family. Homegrown for me is that at City of Chester, though, we have some vacant positions as well. A lot of people always come to me as saying, hey, let me get a job over City Hall, or what's available. I will say that the city hasn't had a lot of turnover over the years. When we do have a position available, it's usually like one. Like, we don't have a lot of jobs. Our financial position isn't the greatest, so we can't just create a bunch of jobs, which is why we connect with our local businesses to kind of filter out and say, here, plug you here and plug you here. Those are good partnerships and collaborations that we have. So right now, I'll speak specifically on some positions that City Hall, in the finance department, my department, and human resources. We are looking for a director of human resources. So if you go on our website, you'll see the job description and the requirements and responsibilities of the individuals that we're looking to recruit. Director of Human Resources, very, very important and pivotal position in the department and in the entire city, as we oversee all of the employee relations and personnel from police, fire, public works, all of the departments. So a Director of Human Resources is a position that is vacant, and we are looking to hire and bring someone on that can run our HR department. Many of you know that we are some form of the land of opportunity, and we always want to hire homegrown people from the city of Chester. So if you are a candidate that is interested, or if you know someone who might have that type of experience, knowledge, and background in human resources, please provide them, send them my way. Send them to the City of Chester's webpage, where you can provide your resume, cover letter, and all of the other credentials and things that you need to provide and apply for that position. Another position in the finance department is we're looking for a clerk in our tax office, someone that works the front desk, someone that collects the revenue, and whether it's permits, whether it's taxes in the City of Chester. So that's a position that we are looking to fill. That position was just posted today, so it's very fresh, very fresh. You might can be the first person to apply for the position, and we'll look to do some interviews in the coming weeks as well. So there's a clerk position, again, in a tax office in the finance department. And one that has been also posted for a few weeks is a supervisor of inspectors. So many of you know that in our code enforcement department and licenses and inspections, we have property maintenance inspectors that goes out to the properties that might have blight, that might have high weeds and grass, that might be unsafe to the neighborhood, to the community, who has to site and or inspect the properties. But we need an individual, or looking to hire an individual that can supervise those inspectors and provide the proper, daily task to allow for that department to do more for our city, the cleanliness of it, the blight of it, and to report back to the owners on what next steps need to be. So we're looking for a supervisor for that department. Supervisor of inspectors is the title of the position. That has been posted for a few weeks. So please, if you have interest in supervising and interest in health, the health department and licenses and inspections, or if you know someone who has the interest, please send them our way. Again, we would love for it to be somebody from the City of Chester or someone from Delaware County. We do not want to do an executive search that reaches our arms too far, too wide. Not that that's nothing bad. It's just that, again, I'm unapologetically we are looking for people that are locally residing here in the City of Chester. And trust me, for me, that ain't a bad thing. That's a good thing. So, and I'll say that many times. So go to www.chestercity.com. There's a tab for jobs. And if you click on that, then you'll see all of the vacant job opportunities that we have in the City of Chester. Please apply, and we'll see how things can go. Don't be upset if you're not the last final individual, though. Don't be mad at us, man. It is what it is. It happens to all of us at some point in time, but we are looking to offer the opportunities to you all. American Rescue Plan. Oh, man. So I am so excited and cannot wait for us to give the public, the community, the things that they're looking for in the American Rescue Plan. One thing that I want to say is that the American Rescue Plan is a one-time pot of money. One time. When it goes, it's gone. And for us, we need to do everything possible. When I say us, members of council in the community, as we come together to make this all work as far as the spending of the funds, we need to come together and pretty much say, how can we spread our arms so wide that we can be able to touch and fund and or assist as many categories, families, organizations, businesses as possible. There are a few categories that we're working with. That is on the health side. That is on a blight and inspectors or licenses or code enforcement side. That is the businesses. That is homeowners and renters. That's parks and recreation. That's public works and street improvement, public safety. All of those types of things are things that can be funded via the American Rescue Plan. And we have a lot of things that we can do to bolster, enhance, and improve the City of Chester. The only issue is we're dealing with a one-time pot of money that is capped off at a little bit over $30 million. So we've had a lot of conversations. We met in July. When I say we, I'm talking about we as a community, as a family, the city of Chester, the people that came out, voiced their comments, questions, concerns. We met in July, where you all heard the compliance aspect of the American Rescue Plan from our consultants. You heard about how we are looking to divvy up the money a little bit in those buckets. You heard about the loss of revenue category, about the amounts of money that needs to be or that will look to be supporting the general fund budget. It's a train going by. So the general fund budget. And we're going to have another meeting to make sure that we follow up with everyone about what we're looking to spend the funds on. Just know that we spread our arms so wide that it's going to be some internal projects that needs to get done and some external projects that needs to get done. And though the funds that's going to be spent on the internal side might not be visually for you all for visually supportive for you, just know that these are things that's going to happen so that we can better provide support and those vital and necessary services that is needed to continue to run our community or run our city and to build up your neighborhood. October 18th at 5 p.m., we're having our next American Rescue Plan or ARPA meeting. That's going to be October 18th at 5 p.m. I think today we posted a flyer on our social media platforms. If you see it, share it. Don't just look at it and scroll. I would share your stuff if I see it as well. If you see it, share it. We want everybody to come out. We want everybody to hear about the progress that has been made. We want everybody to be able to hear about the projects that we're looking to fund. And we want to provide answers and solutions to your questions. There are a lot of questions around health, around public safety, around blighted, unsaved properties that need to be demolished. And we got answers to a lot of those things. Some of those things will be funded through the American Rescue Plan, and some of the things won't. But it's not that because we don't want to fund them. Again, we're working with a cap. We're working with a $30 million cap. But not just because we're not able to fund them through the American Rescue Plan, though it may not be eligible as well as some of those projects. We are making sure that we look at all of our budget opportunities, whether it's with CDBG dollars, whether it's with grants, and if it's not able to be funded through us, we're making sure that we partner with those other entities or authorities that might be able to do those projects. Delaware County, the DA's office, CETA, again, other grants, the state's office, DCED. So we will provide answers to all of your comments, questions, concerns that were raised, and look to move forward on doing our service to the community with the funds that was provided. A little bit over $30 million, a one-time pot of money. We don't want to mess this up. I know y'all don't want us to mess this up. And I don't think that we will. I know that we probably won't please everybody, but I know that we'll please a good amount of people. We can do some great things with $30 million, and I'm sure that we will. So October 18th, 5 p.m., you'll hear more about it on the social media platforms. It'll be live streamed as well. So for those of you who can't make it for whatever reason, maybe you're cooking your spaghetti at home, you frying your chicken. I understand we all got other responsibilities and priorities to adhere to. So it is what it is. But nonetheless, we want to make sure we keep you informed. One important caveat or one important thing to that, though, on October 18th at the meeting, as we talk about transparency, keeping you all involved, we're going to do a committee. We're going to create a committee. The committee with the American Rescue Plan is going to be some people from the city of Chester, some people from the receivers team, and we're looking to have one and or two community members involved in that. Those individuals will know exactly what's going on with those funds, of how they're going to be used, and hopefully be able to provide a lot of that information back to the community. Not that we won't continue to do that in our meetings, and not that I won't continue to do that here on Cool Ass Conversations with Will, but we just want to make sure we hit and touch all lines of communication and transparency with the community. So that's another piece that we'll be talking about on October 18th at 5 p.m. in council chambers at Chester City Hall. Be there, be there, be there. Real fast before I move on, October 11th, there's a Delco night out. Please go out there and show vendors, show them love to some vendors. We got some local vendors that's going to be out there at Delco night out, which is October 11th. I think that's next Tuesday. Some local vendors. I want to say it starts at 5:30. I'm not sure the location, but please Google it or look it up. It's the Delco Night Out. I think we got some young people out there. I think Nasir Leach is one of the hosts. I know that we got a few other vendors that's out there that's going to be selling some of their products. So again, support those local businesses, support those local vendors at Delco Night Out. That'll be a great event. And then the following Tuesday, come on and chill with me and meet with me at Chester City Hall and council chambers for the American Rescue Plan updates that we'll be able to provide for you. Moving down the list of my agenda, some things that people have been, I guess, clapping about, rightfully so. But I think we need to provide more clear, concrete messaging about the next steps. And this is the parking. So many of you know that there's been a conversation over the last, maybe, I guess, year, or at least at the top of this year, about the parking authority and or the parking agreement that was in place here in the city of Chester to enforce parking. One thing that I will say, the city and many of the residents here in the city know that there's a parking issue, whether it's in the business community or whether it's in a residential community. We have ordinances that say there's supposed to be 2 vehicles per household, but many of you know that you might have all of your children in your house, or your friends might be living in your house, and they got cars too. So there's a serious parking issue. And some of that is heightened more in other areas than some, but nonetheless, it's parking. And that's not just a city of Chester issue. That's a Philadelphia issue. That's a Allentown, York issue. Like, that's a city issue, a citywide issue across the country, or in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, is parking. But we have this contract that has now, since October 1st, I believe, been voided. If you have not read the judge's order, you most certainly can do that. I don't know if it's on our page, but you definitely can Google it and be able to read the judge's order. As of October 1st, the parking contract is now voided, as if it almost did not happen. We've been getting a lot of phone calls of people saying, well, what do I need to do? I need to pay my citation or my violation for parking, I guess, wherever they parked at. What I would say is, I'm not saying that you don't have to pay it. What I'm saying is you need to reach out to the phone number on, I guess, the back of your violation ticket or citation ticket. So reach out to those individuals who I believe will be able to provide the next steps for you in the interim, until we know more about what's next. The city is looking to move forward. We've had meetings with the receivers team today, and we're looking to see what our next steps is, because the residents are the ones that are struggling to park out front of their house in the evening time or when they come home from work. So the residential parking is a big thing that members of council are trying to find ways to address immediately. Because we want to make sure that, again, if you're a homeowner, or no matter what, if you're not a homeowner, we want to make sure that you can close to your property. So you will hear more about this in the coming weeks as far as the next steps with parking. But if you have an outstanding citation, please reach out to the phone number that's provided. I do think that eventually the city of Chester will have a parking manager, someone to manage the parking here in the city of Chester. I'm not sure if that's with the meters. Not sure if that's the residential parking aspect only, but parking will be managed by somebody, by some company. I don't know, not yet, but more information is to come. So that is what it is. And for me, I just want to make sure that the individuals that's down here are parking on our Avenue of the States. I don't want individuals to come down here and just park their car in front of a business and just hop on the train or just to sit over here all day. Still get out and patronize those businesses that's here, whether it's for you to get food or to purchase any clothing or whatever the case may be. Patronize those businesses and move your car and go somewhere else or park in the City Hall lot if necessary. City Hall, you can park in the City Hall lot. You can do that. It's public parking. It's a public property. But allow other individuals to come down here and spend their money so that our local businesses can continue to thrive and whatnot. So my last point that I'll make or bring up is about a very, very big announcement that was pushed out just yesterday with the Philadelphia Union. I'll give some briefing on how it all started and I guess bring you up to speed on where it is now. But back in 2018, 2019, myself, other members partnered with the Philadelphia Union, Riverfront Alliance. We put funds together to engage a consultant to come up with a waterfront, economic development waterfront master plan. Within those times, we had a good amount of meetings with the public. The public was involved 150%. If the public didn't make the meetings, I'm sorry you wasn't able to make the meetings, but we have, I think, either 5 or 6 meetings with the public at Chester City Hall where there was pictures, there were note boards, all those types of things in the presentation from the consultants as well. And at those meetings, we heard from the community as far as what they would like to see. We provided pictures of what other areas or other waterfronts looked like. And this, of course, was to be total transparent and was to get the output of the residents of their own city, their own community, to see what fits here, what works here, and not what will work here for the interim for the next year or 5 years. We want to put stuff that's going to work here for the long term and things that our residents would be able to appreciate and be able to attend to, whether it's a restaurant or sports events, whatever the case may be. So things that were spoke about, things that were in the plan, were restaurants, were hotels, were condos, was retail, was a lounge and recreational facilities and trails and things like that, kind of like up in Spruce Street Harbor in Philadelphia. We had a great conversations with the community. Again, it was 5 or 6 community events that was had, but we had great communication with them. And I honestly believe that the plan answered and or provided everything that was brought out in those meetings and or answered to those, that what would work or what did not work or couldn't work. The studies, they looked at these areas, they looked at percentages, looked at the traffic that currently comes down to the on 291, looked at what else is in the community and in the county, looked at the transportation. Is the transportation set up properly? Is it set up the proper way now, such as the train stations, I guess, for SEPTA, the Highland Avenue station and the transportation center or the bus stops. Like, they looked at everything that we can think about. Traffic signals, safety calming measures on Route 291 that is continuously to improve, and those conversations are ongoing as well. And I'll give you a quick update on some of the things that we're looking to do on 291. But all of those conversations were had, all of those things were brought to the table, and with that, the Philadelphia Union is the primary owner of a good amount of acres down there on 291. And this is just focused on Highland Avenue to Norris Street, just Highland Avenue to Norris Street. But the Philadelphia Union took the stance, and I'm thankful that they took this stance. They took the stance that they needed to be more of the mall operator or the mall developer and take the first investment and stab at incentivizing what can happen or what can the future can lean towards for the city of Chester's waterfront. And just to back up real fast, I believe the stadium has been here since 2008, and there were intended to be some other development to happen to accompany the stadium. But without getting too deep into the weeds of it all, I do know that was the year that the market crashed and a lot of financials kind of took a downward turn. And unfortunately, for whatever reason, amongst some others, those other condos or other development that was talked about, restaurants and things like that, didn't happen. But we're a little bit over 10 years down the line now, and we have individuals in place that is able to sit down with the powers that be and to bring all hands together to find out the what ifs and what can happen and how to make it happen. So again, the Philadelphia Union say, you know what, we think that a sports complex would be a good project here on the waterfront. It can bring families here together, whether you're a child because you're playing in the sports or just want to view and watch the sports, or whether you're a parent because your child is playing in the sports and you're coming down here for a tournament or whatever, practice, whatever the case may be. So I thought that family-oriented type of project was important, and members of council supported the Philadelphia Union in bringing that announcement to the table, to the forefront. We've had a lot of conversations with the union on how it will work, a lot of conversations with the county of how it could work. And I'm glad that the ownership of the Philadelphia Union took the stance that they did as well. I will say all the conversations were not great. Not that none of us wanted the project to happen, but, you know, things come in front of certain projects of this size, of this magnitude. This is a project that's going to cost a few $1 million to construct and develop. But what does this mean for the city of Chester? Obviously, it provides job opportunities for those here in the city of Chester. A lot of job opportunities. Obviously, it develops and creates an area that is more so for parking and gravel. It beautifies it to the next step with putting up fields, turf fields, and a field house there. So it's beautification aspect, job creation. It's creating a safe space for families to leave their households, whether it's to walk in or drive in or bike down to the waterfront, not only to maybe see competition going on, but also just to enjoy the waterfront. I say this to everybody, that two of the biggest assets that I talk about is the people here in the city of Chester and our waterfront. We have great people here in the city of Chester. I think we get a bad rap. And the perception that is provided in the news media or on Google, if you Google the city of Chester, is not of the people that I know, majority of them at least. But we got good people here. We got a lot of pride here, and perception is a real thing of what others perceive of us, and only we can change that narrative. But those individuals will be able to go down and enjoy the trails, enjoy the scenery on our waterfront, the beautiful waterfront that we have. So jobs, economic development, and it, of course, will incentivize other development around the waterfront. If we're going to have over 500,000 people who come to the city of Chester on an annual basis, you got to have a place for them to eat. You got to have a place for them to lounge to some degree. So we need to find out what we need to do, and we talked about this on our the Chester Business Association meeting. In the midst of all of this coming, how do we have our conversation with the small business community to get them ready and prepared to take the next step, to take that next leap, maybe to have a storefront down there on the waterfront, or maybe to be a vendor at some of those games. We need to, or be a sponsor onto one of those fields. Like, we need to be able to get them in the right position or get them in front of the right people to take those next steps so they can take their business to the next level. So those are the conversations that are happening. No, we're not late to the party on having those conversations. The timing is perfect, and you got the right people or person in place to make sure that we get that information in front of the right people so that we can be able to benefit from everything that's going to be involved with that. So again, I said that this is not the stop. This is not the end of it all. We have to find a way to encourage more things to happen on our waterfront, and I'm sure that will happen. I mention all the time about small wins, and prior to this announcement yesterday, there have been some small wins. If you haven't driven down the 291 and the waterfront, you should. There has been reconstruction and repavement done on Engle Street, where the brewery sits. There is currently going repaving and reconstruction on Rainey Street with some sidewalks and some street lamps and some pavers as well that'll be done. So you'll see more of a beautified entryway to our waterfront in the coming months, and our boat dock or boat launch, where we have a grant where we're putting a new pavilion and some benches and things like that, where the boats are launched at. So complete revitalization of the waterfront is underway. More to come. And I'm happy that we were able to be a part of it. And I'm happy that the residents that are here are going to be able to be a part of it as well. One of the things that I've said, and I always say, is that not everybody, the casino does great things for the city of Chester, but not everybody goes to the casino either because you don't gamble or because you're not aged yet, you're not able because of your age. And I say a little bit about that with the Philadelphia Union as well. Not everybody goes to the Philadelphia Union, the stadium. Not sure why, because it's a beautiful stadium that sits over the water, but not everybody is interested in sports and not everybody likes soccer. For me, I think we were able to kind of hit a happy medium here. Everybody does a lot for their kids or for their youth, for their teens, for their own child. So we're able to bring some form of a youth establishments and recreation here for families to come down here. That's a plus for us. One thing that has not been provided, and I won't get super deep into it, but I think it's important to know. Everybody's saying, oh, well, it's all soccer fields. Yeah, that's all you see. But there is a field house. It was like a white building. That's the field house. And the project would not make sense in the city of Chester if it did not have a basketball court. So, yes, there will be basketball courts on the inside of that field house. And in our conversations with the Philadelphia Union, again, the project wouldn't make sense if we did not make sure that our Chester youth or Chester organizations did not or were not able to have the proper access to this facility, whether it's indoors or outdoors. So I will say that those conversations with the Philadelphia Union have been very fruitful and desirable for students and for our youth. And the Philadelphia Union are great. They're great partners, not just with the soccer team that they brought back to high school, with their IM Foundation that is going on. They've been great partners to the city of Chester, and they continue to do that with this investment. So over 10 years, I think it's going to recover somewhere over $50 million in this project. They are not in this and not in the business to generate revenue from the project. They are simply in the business to incentivize more to happen on the waterfront and for to offer a space for you all to come down there and to enjoy our waterfront. So big announcement, big business. I think we all should be happy with what is to come. But I do think or know that we all should also sit back and say that the work isn't done yet. How do we make sure our business community is involved in the next step of the conversations? How do we make sure that our housing or our homeowners or our residents is involved in those next conversations on the other side of Route 291, 2nd Street, 3rd Street, 4th Street, those things like that. Again, the focus is from Highland to Norris, but more conversations will be upcoming. So thankful for that. Shout out to the union for taking the stance and the steps that they did, and again, more to come. With that, all I'll say is that, we try to, or me, I try to come here and take my jacket off and just relax and have a cool conversation with you all that you may not be able to get all of the details when you see members like myself on sitting at council. You might not get all the detail. You might just hear of the resolutions that are being passed and or considered, and the ordinances that are being passed or considered. So this offers you all another opportunity to just hear from my side of the story and to get a little bit more in detail and context on what's going on. One thing that I think is going to be important in on all of this is that the city needs to do a better job. When I say the city, I'm included in the city, so I'm not excluding myself. I would like to think that I speak for everybody, but I will say me and things that I see that we need to find out how we can do better. And this is not a knack or a negative on any of the elected officials that are my colleagues, and I support them and try to do what's necessary to be the voice in or the connector to some of the people in this community, and some of the things that I believe in. But two things that we need to find out how we do in the city of Chester is I believe a lot of our ordinances or programs are antiquated or out of date, out of touch. We need to find out, how do we encourage these property owners or landlords to improve their neighborhood? How do we encourage some of these individuals that are living in the housing authority or getting these vouchers? How do we find out or come up with a program that will, it's more so like a rent to own type of system. We need to really, really find out what we want to do in offering home ownership opportunities, first home buyers opportunities. So those are the conversations that we're having. I think we have a few different ideas in place, but like and I know, things take time to consider, to pass, and to put into motion. So you got to have all of the right hands on deck, and everybody willing and able to come to the table and put their egos aside. Again, though we're all trying to get the plan B or to the end of the top of the mountain, we all might not have the same direction of how to get there, but I truly believe that we can all get there. So that's one of the things. And then more on the licenses and inspection side. So I'm a business owner, entrepreneur, and going through other municipalities' processes, I also see some of the processes that we go through here in the city of Chester. A little bit of compare and contrast, but I want to see how we can make the transition for some of those property owners, those contractors, a little bit more seamless. So looking at the different softwares that we have, making it more digitized and getting away from a lot of that paper. It's like a fire hazard. So getting away from a lot of the paper, offering a self-service type of model for business to be constructed and completed at City Hall or at your own household, but for us to all stay in the loop of what's going on within that process for you to get your permitting and things like that. So those are two things that I know that we're working on. Again, that's updating our resolutions and ordinances and looking at the different policies, procedures, and softwares that we have in play to better serve the community. So two big things there. I'm here solo right now, and I'm just freestyling. Partly of it is my man Pierre left me, so we can't hit the end button. I can't hit the end button just yet. My man P left me, so I'm kind of freestyling. So with that, I'm going to just continue to ramp on and talk about some other things that's upcoming. About a month or so ago, we talked about doing a Shark Tank for business consultation and trying to find out how we get others to, or how we get me to support you also. And talking with business consultant Chantel Price, coming up with the criteria. We haven't pushed it out just yet, but we will be pushing it out soon. So that hasn't fallen off the mountain. That is still there. Something that we're going to fund to see how we can better support your business and get you the consultation that you need and necessary. So it's going to be a Shark Tank. We're actually going to do the show. We're going to pay additional and see how we can have like a 2 or 3 hour show. Maybe, I don't know. We're going to try and do a Shark Tank here, man. That'll be something that's fun. P, I was telling him I'm freestyling right now. So I'm just freestyling. So that's one thing. And again, if you don't stay up to date on what's going on, if you're not here listening to me, if you're not going to the council meetings, please just subscribe to the City of Chester's e-newsletter. The E stands for, I guess, electronic, but it's the electronic e-newsletter that you'll get in your email on a monthly basis. Amanda, our press secretary, does a great job getting that information out on time. You can expect it probably within the first day or two of the next month. So she's really dope with that. She's early and on time with that. So it can be lengthy as far as the newsletter, but that's a good thing. We're trying to provide all that information and the pluses and minuses that we have within the previous month. So that my last, I guess, 2 things that I'll mention is continue. The community is doing a great job, and our police officers are doing a great job with crime. Our statistics are down. I don't care what nobody says. So we've still got some bad negative things that's happening in our community, but I think, and I know those the community members, whether you're a block captain, you're just in the neighborhood, you provided information. Listen, that really is a pivotal piece to the future of our community. It deals with our education system. It deals with economic development. It deals with home ownership. So anything that we have to do to continue to decrease the crime that is going out here, please do that. And when I'm saying crime, I'm not just talking about the homicide. I'm talking about anything that's crime. That could be sexual abuse. That can be robberies and thefts. We need to find ways to deter that and put it somewhere else, not here, or just remove it into its entirety. I got word that the City of Chester lighting project is 98% done. Not why 98%, I don't know, but 98% is a good percentage. I'm hoping that in 2 weeks when I come back here, though, that 2% will be gone and we'll be at 100% completed. If you don't know, the city had a grant and partnered to replace every street light in the City of Chester. There should not be one street light that has not been touched. If you have a street light out front of your household, or if you see a street light at nighttime when you're driving around that's not lit up, please reach out to the Public Works Department, our city engineer, so that we can get somebody out there to replace that light. But not only should it be on, it should be bright. These are new LED lights that should light up, I won't say a block, but it should be brighter. It most certainly should be brighter. And I see it as well. I see it when I drive at night. Oftentimes I drive through through many neighborhoods just to see what projects we need to address or what needs to get fixed immediately. And just maybe last week, I guess I was riding and I noticed that lights in the neighborhood were pretty bright. So again, that's 98% completed. It was over 3,000 lights. I don't have the exact number, but over 3,000 lights were to be replaced. Great project for the City of Chester. Happy that we were able to do something like this within the City of Chester. And that's a safety issue that we were able to address. So with that, I'm going to shut up temporarily, but I'm glad that I'm able to have this platform opportunity to come here and provide just thorough detail about what's going on and what's happening and what's yet to come. Again, sign up for that e-newsletter on our website. Again, I'm your Deputy Mayor, Will Morgan of the City of Chester. And again, I salute you and thank you for doing what you do. CMP, I'm out.